Hello and welcome back to British English. My name is Ali and today we're going to be talking all things British English when it comes to drinking. Whether we're talking about alcohol or soft drinks, we're just going to use some natural phrases that British English people use when talking about any beverage. So in the UK, going for a drink after work or having a drink with some friends is a way that we really like to socialise. So we might ask someone, do you fancy a drink? Do you fancy a drink? It isn't do you fancy a drink? Fancy is such a brilliant word. I'm going to explain more about it and its different meanings in another video. But for now, we're using fancy to make a suggestion and a light invitation if someone wants to do something with you. Do you fancy a drink? Do you want to go for a drink with me? On the way to getting a drink, you might talk a little bit about what you're going to have, what you're going to drink. And the conversation will go a little bit like this. What are you going to get? What are you? What are you going to get? It means, what do you feel like you want to drink? What are you gonna get? Now, this is not perfect pronunciation, but it is the kind of thing that we might say in anticipation, in very casual and unimportant conversation. What are you gonna drink? What are you gonna get? Get just means buy, and drink obviously means consume. A typical response to this will say, I'm gonna get, or I'm gonna have, or going to have, a beer. And we won't say, I'm going to have a pint of beer. We just say, I'm going to have a beer. I'm going to have a wine. We use drink as a way of referring to what we are going to drink. So I don't fancy drinking alcohol, so I'm gonna have an orange juice. When we are not drinking alcohol, we might refer to this as sober. Sober is basically not drinking. So I'm having a sober night. I'm not drinking tonight. Or someone who's given up alcohol might say, I'm sober. I don't drink. Different ways that we can refer to drinks might be a tipple. This is a very traditional British word. I don't think that many blokes who go to the pub talk saying, oh, I'm going to have a tipple, but it's just a sort of more gentle, elegant way, I think, and a very sort of old traditional way to say, let's have an alcoholic beverage. So I'll have a tipple tonight. I'll have a little drink tonight. In British English, being polite is very important. So we sometimes try to make a normal standard glass of wine seem smaller. I'll have a cheeky wine. We love to use the word cheeky because it gives the impression that we're not dedicating ourselves to it and it's just a little naughty something, a little cheeky wine or a little cheeky beer. Saying it this way just implies that it's lighter, not very important or heavy. It's just a cheeky something. And we use this in a variety of contexts beyond drinks. For example, in a dating situation, at the end of the night, you might have a cheeky kiss. It's not bad or wrong, but we're just trying to keep a politeness to it. So we kissed is a little bit more direct and formal than, yeah, we had a cheeky kiss. Another slightly old-fashioned word relating to drinks, which I absolutely love, is when we refer to having a little bit of alcohol and feeling the effects of alcohol in our system. This word is Tiddly, and it implies that silly, light, funny feeling that we might feel after having had half a glass of wine or something smaller than anything too heavy. Tiddly has probably been replaced by the word tipsy, which again means just feeling the alcohol in your system, feeling a bit silly, a bit more loose, as opposed to drunk. And drunk is a bit of a heavy situation to be in. It has not so positive connotations to it. It is a bit more of an intense experience. So when someone's tipsy or tiddly, this implies more of a kind of light alcohol feeling as opposed to someone who is drunk, and this might be a little bit more of a messy, not quite so beautiful appearance and way of being. The mannerisms around someone who's tipsy might just be a bit more light-hearted, a bit more chatty, as opposed to someone who is drunk, and depending on the level of drunkenness, this might be slurring your speech. That means you're not talking clearly, words are sort of slurring into each other, and the words are definitely not clearly enunciated. Another thing that a drunk person might do is weave, and it means not really quite being able to stay still as they've lost their ability to understand and monitor their own bodily movements. A more light-hearted way of talking about being drunk is being pissed. Now, I'm sorry, this is not a word that you want to use in front of your boss or your grandmother, but this is a really colloquial, slang-like way that we refer to feeling under the influence or drunk. This actually can mean a little bit more tipsy or lightly drunk or very drunk. So it's a more of a vague term that doesn't have the negative connotations of being drunk. Similarly, if we go out with our friends and we decide, let's get pissed tonight, let's get drunk, let's get under the influence, do some silly dancing and regret it all in the morning. Another more colloquial slang word that we use to refer to alcoholic drinks is booze. Do you fancy some booze tonight? Again, a very sort of casual slang-like phrase, but booze is just a less formal way of saying alcoholic beverage. Some drinks that you might find in the UK, which I think are unique to Britain, is a shandy. Now, a shandy is a half beer and half lemonade. You'd usually get a pint of shandy in a pub, and I think that's more of a feeling of beer but more light and sweet. Similarly, there's also a shandy gaff, basically half a beer with some ginger ale, I guess just for a bit more of a spicy, tangy feeling. We also use spritzer to refer to when we put white wine with sparkling water. So it just adds some lightness and a little bit of a refreshing, fizzy feeling to the wine itself. And last, but by no means least, we have the all-important British summer drink, which is Pimm's. Now, Pimm's in itself is actually a liquor. I think it's around 20%, somewhere around that. It's mixed with lemonade and all sorts of refreshing things like mint, apple, orange. Strawberries are also a common ingredient in a Pimm's. You can basically put anything in there that's refreshing, and when you mention Pimm's to a British person, I think the majority of us are brought back into a summer kind of vibe, and we're probably sitting outside in a beer garden or at a friend's garden party drinking Pimm's in the afternoon. The slogan for Pimm's is actually, it's Pimm's o'clock. So it's time for Pimm's. Now, usually, it's 3 o'clock, it's 4 o'clock, it's 7 o'clock, but with Pimm's o'clock, we don't actually have any definitive time that's appropriate for a Pimm's. That's because it's actually quite a light drink, and being mixed with lemonade and all these delicious fruits and flavorings, it's just a very easy, sweet, soft drink to drink. Which means you're not going to be too pissed by the time that the evening rolls around. I must also mention that when we're doing a toast, when we raise a glass, we'll say cheers. We may clink glasses, that being a clink. And when we clink glasses, we have the superstition, we have the belief that you must look into the eyes of the other person for good luck purposes, let's say. So next time you're cheersing with a British person, raise your glass, say cheers, clink their glass, and look into their eyes. Very important. Well, thank you so much for learning with British English today. I hope that you learnt some new phrases, and please do comment below if you know of any phrases to refer to drinking, either alcoholic or non-alcoholic, in your own country or even in English. Thank you so much, and until next time, bye bye.